As a third-generation clothing collector, this guest has taken her creativity to new levels in the world of events, productions, and what she grew up with, dance. Along with traveling the world capturing timeless moments, she has launched her own magazine, opened her own style studio, and continues to amaze by disassembling creative boundaries by incorporating fashion, fitness, and fine arts into her projects. This is a mind that I'm curious to peek into and know you are as well. This is Nina Sarahphina, and you're watching Driven. All right, Nina Sarahphina, with all this that you got going on right now, I want to rewind a bit and ask you, who were you growing up? I know dance was in your background, but what was your mind going through at 10, 12, 13 years old?
Well, besides boys,
Okay.
I have always been a very creative individual. So I remember around 10, 11, 12, I was coming out of middle school and transitioning into high school. And that was the time where I was in San Antonio, Texas, and I was really trying to figure out who I am.
I see.
Like other kids my age, but particularly for me as a creative, I always felt like I needed to be doing something. I was always in front of a lot of people. So any opportunity that I had to create, that was the space that I was in at that young. You know?
No, did you public school, private school, or?
I went to public school my whole life.
Did you feel, because I have mixed feelings about school in general to begin with, and obviously public school as well. But now, did you feel like the schools, whether it's one junior high you went to or even the elementary, do you feel like the schools were giving you a chance to be you, or were you a little bit too creative over the other students, honestly?
It's so funny you say that. As a kid, I was severely overweight.
Okay.
And so it was kind of difficult for me to fit in places. But what was so interesting about that is the teachers saw something in me. The students saw me as, I used to go by Puff. It was a family name that my grandfather's side of the family gave me because I was so chunky, so Puff. So I took that name in middle school.
Does anybody know that now?
Some people still refer to me as Puff. I went to school again in San Antonio, so I still get referred to that. And even I had the teachers calling me Puff.
Okay.
But they saw something in me that wasn't puff and tough. I was smart. I was creative. I always got the lead parts in the plays and things like that. So it was kind of conflicting because I was looked at differently by adults and teachers than I was to my student peers.
Okay.
It was, I would say, right around the age of 11 and 12 is when I got a little bit more confident in my size and in my role as this leader. I always had that leadership role. And that's when I started really standing forward in class and being that first person to speak up or being the first person to give a new idea. And I was really, really thankful that the teachers did see so much in me at that young age.
Do you think it was because the teachers saw something in you that you gained more confidence? Or was it just naturally like, I'm a boss, I need to be in the front and I need to be talking first?
It's like you know me. It was a little bit of both because I feel like it was something that I can use to my advantage, my size.
Okay.
Not only to be seen by my peers as one thing, but to also be seen to the teachers. Even though I was a little bit of a troublemaker sometimes, and that was simply because all of my peers thought, Puff will do it. No one else will do it. Puff will do it. And being that person kind of kept me out of the center of attention, kept my weight out of the center of attention. So my personality was kind of the thing that I used to my advantage so that people wouldn't focus on my size.
I see what you're saying. Okay. And that's that's interesting you say that, and the reason why is because I just recently heard an interview with Mia Khalifa. Listened to an interview that she did in Europe or somewhere, and she was talking about how weight played a big factor in her growing up.
Nice.
Once she lost the weight is when she started feeling the validation of others.
Absolutely.
And that's why she got into obviously the industry she got into, and we all know the story. Sure. But that's what happened when she personally lost weight. So now with dance being in your background, when did dance really start kicking in? If you were, if you had more weight on you, how did that play in and the mental side of that also?
I had I lost about 100 pounds going from my junior year of high school to my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And after high school, I immediately thought, being from Austin, Texas, I wanted to be around more people that look like me. So I moved to Houston, Texas.
Okay, H-Town.
H-Town, stand up.
Or H-Town.
Moving to Houston, Texas, I went to Texas Southern University for just 1 year. Some of the best education I ever had, but I stood out. I stood out because number one, I had just went through this physical transformation, so I was still learning more about myself, my body. But also too, I'll bring up a butterfly a lot in our conversation because it has a lot to do with my transformation. But I felt like a butterfly just out the cocoon. Everything was new to me. I had this new awakening and enlightenment of myself and education and being around people who look like me. But I still stood out the way that I dress, the way that I talk, the way that that confidence from being in high school and finally finding myself and being comfortable being in front of people. I took that to college. So I was that one girl that sat in the front of the class and always wanted to talk and always wanted to say something. And that was so different than who I was when I was younger. So I really did enjoy that experience. And that followed me all the way until now. It never really left me. I was only at Texas Southern for 1 year, and then I went to Texas State and ended up graduating in 2013.
Okay. So I know you have your clothing collector, and is it a third generation clothing collector? So now let me ask you, because you said something that kind of caught my attention. So when you were dressing differently than the other students, was it, I don't want to say what was in fashion, but was it your fashion? Like you're like, yo, I'm going to put this together. I don't care about I don't want to do the math on what year you were in high school, what was popping, what's trendy. But I'm assuming it seems like you were putting together your own thing and saying, this is a statement that I'm making. I don't care about what y'all are rocking. This is what I'm going with.
Definitely, definitely. Everybody around me was into, I think Lil Wayne at the time had just come out. So it was just
was it Fireman?
The Fireman, yes.
He was in college in Houston at the same time.
He went to U of H, yep.
That's right,
You know your stuff.
I know.
And I was really into even though I wasn't a rebel, I had the eyebrow piercings and both nostrils pierced, and my favorite place to shop was like Hot Topic. And that kind of fashion, that
darker kind of,
It wasn't really popular in my community. It wasn't really popular, and then it's so funny that it wasn't popular then or what I knew, but Afro punk had been around for a long time, and I hadn't been introduced to it yet, but I would find out later when it was reintroduced in my life how popular that particular type of fashion was. But I definitely look different. While one of my classmates might have the studded belt, here I am with some leopard skin stockings. Even though we may have gotten them from the same store, it was the way I was wearing things and the way that my peers were wearing things that you could tell that there was a difference in style.
So who did you hang out with in those days, though?
My teachers, I swear,
Oh, you hung out with the teachers?
It was so funny.
I'm kind of curious.
Look, you know what I'm saying?
This is getting good.
I know, right? I had a teacher, my English teacher, Introduction to English. Her name was Maat. And she reminded me so much of Angela Davis. And I had told her my email first day of class, and she was like, "We got to change this email." That's how.
Was it an inappropriate email? Or?
It was pretty inappropriate. But I thought I was doing something with that email.
You thought you was cool.
So we changed that email, and in between classes, whenever she didn't have a class, I would come and I would talk to her. I didn't really have anybody else to talk to. I talked to my history teacher. I remember bringing in my presentation. It was all laminated in a folder and stuff, and she was just like, in front of the whole class, "This is presentation." And it was that moment I knew, oh, okay, I'm finna come, and actually introduce myself to this person. And I felt it being a trend with all my teachers. I wasn't a brown noser. I wasn't seeking any kind of approval for them. Or maybe I was. Maybe I did want them to see that, hey, I'm not this studded nose, piercings, short skirt, animal
that was the outside.
Girl. I wanted them to really get to know me for who I am, and in a way, I was kind of wanting to know myself. And coming from my teachers, I think that gave me more of a perspective of the woman I was becoming.
So, were you bullied in school?
I was too big to be bullied.
Okay, but see, I'm trying to piece together how it all to how you're doing what you're doing now, because you didn't quite hang out with students, right?
Right.
You gravitated. Well, I'm not gonna say you hung out, but you gravitated
Sure.
more towards what the teachers got going on. But did people reject you in those years for not just the weight that you had, but what you also wore? Or did you feel like you were rejected?
I'm glad that you said that last part.
Okay.
It was always what I felt, and
Okay.
I didn't know then.
Yeah.
But revisiting now, you know, I was never bullied. I was never an outcast. I was always popular, but it was almost as if it was always a performance. I was always
see.
giving my best, whatever that best was, to whoever thought this was best.
I see.
And it was easy for me to manipulate situations and things with not just the way that I talk, the way I present
Yeah.
myself, but the way that I dress too. I had so many different types of styles that I play a certain role. And I say I play a certain role, and I'm still kind of playing that role as a creative director, only I'm no longer trying to impress my peers and my teachers. Now there's a whole community of artists and
Realistically,
creatives
yeah.
who I want to see what I'm doing now. You know?
I see what you're saying. And you know, it's funny. So back in high school, I remember in those days, it's like you could tell like the freshmen 1 year they're this, they're like emo, and then they're preppy, and then they're gangsta,
Yeah.
and then they're this whatever. But it seems like you had multiple things going on at once, because that's really what was flowing through your head. Like you weren't. It seems as if you weren't trying to fit in with anybody. You were just doing what made you happy and what you wanted to be like.
Yeah.
And in high school, people are trying, what I've seen, I have a son that went through high school as well.
Sure.
It's a matter of trying to find who you are. Am I a gangsta? Am I a prep? Am I, do I wear the mossy oak with the camo
Right.
and the duck boots or whatever?
But you knowing your stuff.
I know everything. Come on now. No, but it's like little things like that that I see people trying to find where they fit in. And it seems like you're like, everything, but I don't conform to one thing because I'm just naturally like that. But did you see that growing up? Because being it was third generation, right?
Third generation.
Third generation clothes collector, did you see your parents or grandparents doing the same thing where it's like, mama or daddy is like this one day and then the next day they're totally different? Or
Actually, because I was overweight, I was wearing my mom's clothes and my grandmother's clothes so early.
the hand-me-downs.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't that we couldn't afford the clothes. It was just I was in women's departments, but I was only 11 and 12 years old, you know? So whatever the style was, like in the 90s, you know, I may have been in second grade, but I was wearing what Salt and Pepper was wearing.
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what
That
I'm
was
saying?
cross colors, Cavarici.
Yeah.
Jabos,
Really,
yeah.
Mom, I have to
Come on
put you in my next little photo shoot. You could be
I'm
a
old
great
school.
creative director. Shoot. But yeah, so I was wearing
Pele.
clothes. I still got all that in my closet. We should shop one day.
Let's go. Let's go.
But yeah, I was seeing things that I didn't really realize. You know, I remember this windbreaker. I was in second grade, and this windbreaker that I had on, it was pink and green, and it had these little sequins on it.
Okay.
And I was doing a Tootsie Roll, and I got down to touch the floor, and it split in the back. So that whole day, I had a little split in my pants. But I specifically remember being that size and wearing a windbreaker. None of my peers were wearing windbreakers.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
was wearing windbreakers. And that happened a lot as well when I got older. I was wearing a lot of stuff that they call now vintage.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was like, you know, I don't know if you remember Macklemore. He came out with that
Michael Moore. Oh, Macklemore. Okay.
That thrift shop song.
Yeah, yeah.
Thrift shop was cool. You know. And when I heard that song, I was like, what?
We've been doing this.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was always either, I mean, up here, I was ahead. And with the clothes, I was behind. But because there's an evolution of talent and creativity, I still end up always being ahead of the game. In some way. You know what I'm saying?
Huh.
It's kind of hard. I feel like it's a little hard to process, not just when I'm talking about it. And I think that's why it was so important. I don't mean to jump ahead.
No, it's fine.
But it was so important for me to recently have this immersive experience when I made my house into and used it and converted it
Studio,
into, inside my mind. Yeah. So in each room there was a different theme, and these different themes that were in these different rooms was pretty much what goes on in my head. And I would have these conversations with people, and they would be into it, but it was really hard for them to grasp what I was talking about. So that's why I used this last event for people to have like a first look into what goes on in the mind of Nina Sarahphina.
Yeah, we're going to get to that because I'm kind of curious because I believe it was your home. You totally converted and invited people into your home, right? And that's not pretty common for people to do. Yeah, that's not a common trend. Although I did go to a comedy fest one day at somebody's house, but it was a food related, and they're like, they're singing songs and they're throwing food at each other. I thought it was like a weird food fetish type. I was like, okay, what did I just get myself into?
Did you catch anything?
No, they give you a bag. It's like a shed in someone's there's a shed built. They gave you a bag of food, rotten tomatoes and bananas. So while the people are performing, you're literally throwing food at them, and they're coming and doing the salsa, pouring salsa on each other. It was really, I'll tell you later.
It's art. It sounds like art.
Yes, it was really freaking cool. And I was like, I've never seen nothing like this. But it was at somebody's house. It was some South Austin hipster type of stuff.
No, I feel you.
But really cool, though, really cool. So you get out of college, which you went, it was an English major?
English and dance.
English and dance, okay. So you go through that in college. You lost all the weight, right? Okay. So now you get out of college. What happens?
Right before I get out of college, I do. There's a annual production called the Jazz Nutcracker by Duke Ellington. That
was it in Houston or?
This is Texas State and San Marcos.
Okay, like I said that.
So they do their annual jazz ensemble, and this year in particular, I was a choreographer of every piece. I also did the costumes of every piece. So, and this is a pretty big deal. It's Texas State.
Did you volunteer for it, or they just kind of gave it to you?
Both.
Okay.
It started out as me volunteering, and once I saw that the other volunteers were kind of just giving me all the jobs, it quickly became my production.
This is my show, y'all.
Yeah, which is how I like it anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good though, because as you get older, you can put that under your belt that you were the lead director or lead producer, whatever it was, and it looks better for you either way.
Yeah, and once again, the teachers saw something in me before I saw it in myself, and were like, "This is you. You got it. You can gave me feedback and constructive criticism, but ultimately I was running the show." And after that, I was on this crazy high, like, yo, I want to do this all the time, everywhere. I found a photographer who believed in me, a makeup artist who believed in me, and when I say believe in me, they basically mean that they weren't charging me to come up with these ideas.
I know the slang, trust me. It's on GP.
Yeah, real time.
On GP,
which I and I guess right now they call it TFP now.
Trade for
print or trade for.
But I think that's more in the photography world.
Right.
Me, I'm street dude. We just say GP. Hey, on GP, you take care of me on GP. Yeah, I got you.
We need to bring GP back. Let's bring that back, man. Save me thousands of dollars.
For real.
It felt like it was a crazy rush, crazy high, to be able to. It wasn't control, but it was creativity, and there's a thin line. But to have people who believed in me and who were basically like, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
It's a feeling like no other.
But now let me ask you this: are your parents close or around or?
Yes, I'm very close to my mother. She's my momager, is what I call her.
Okay.
It's like manager.
So during the high school and college, I don't say transition, but during everything that's going on, how influential is your mom or your parent, your family in general, with everything you got going on and everything you're trying to do because you're now dipping into it?
Front row center of every show.
Really?
Everybody. Granny, Papa, Aunt. Just this last event that we just had, they were, front and center.
They're rolling deep.
10 deep, not really, I was so good at getting people to believe in me. Believe me and believe in me, that there was never any question.
That's cool, though.
Never really any question.
You have to tell yourself, and I want to tell you a quick story because this is how I think. and I like the way you think, but this is something that literally just happened the other day. I'm at my mother's house, and a family friend comes over with his wife, and we're talking about, he's asking me about what I'm doing now, and no, we're talking, and then my mom starts laughing, and she says, he's so funny. He tells me, Mom, I'm the best at what I do, and da-da-da-da-da. Now, keep in mind, that's my mindset. Now, I have to prove to the world that I'm doing everything better than everybody else, but my mindset is I'm the best, and da-da-da-da-da. So the guy that's there, he starts laughing. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. You have to tell yourself you're the best, because no one in your industry is going to tell you you're better than them.
Absolutely.
That's keeping it 100. No one is going to tell you you're better than them or you're the best, especially if they're quote unquote a competitor. He says, no, it's funny you say that. I said, why? He goes, that's what my boss tells us all the time. I go, what do you mean? He says, because he builds homes. But they don't build $200,000 homes. They build like $1 million and up homes that take like a year to build, like top of the line. So he says, my boss is constantly reminding us that nobody can build a home better than he can, that he's the best in the industry, he's the best, and blah, 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 blah. I said, let me ask you a question. He said, what's that? I said, who makes the most money out of that entire organization? He said, he does. I said, exactly. The guy that makes, and it could be a woman, if it was a woman owner, the guy that makes the most amount of money is the one that only has that mentality. How ironic.
How ironic. You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing is, it's funny you bring that up too, because I tell myself that too, but in a different way. I always say, my only goal in life is to find people to help me make my dreams come true. And as a creative director, I'm always saying I have the best models, the most beautiful models. I have the most talented team of photographers and public relations. You guys are the best. You're a representation of me, so you are the best. And it's kind of hard to tell myself out loud that I'm the best, but I'm definitely always thinking it, and I'm definitely always putting that same energy into the people around me.
Yeah, don't public, and I don't do this publicly. I don't get too Kanye publicly.
Right.
Well,
it works.
Kanye 2 years ago.
Right.
Because now he's a little bit chill. But I don't get too Kanye publicly, because obviously there's more scrutiny and more this and that. But mentally, you literally have to wake up every day and tell yourself you're the best at your specific industry.
Absolutely.
When it comes to marketing and strategies and all this, I got it. When it comes to production, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. That's why I don't dip into that. So you got your family supporting you, 110%.
Yep.
College is already done. You you graduated with the major in English or?
Double major, English and dance.
Okay. So what happened with the English major?
Look,
Being honest.
I was like, look, you're gonna have to let me be honest right quick. Education is everything. Go to school. Or don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Just finish something.
Yeah.
However, I kid you not, it was 3 months before I was gonna graduate with my teacher certificate, and we had to do, we had to go into the high school, do the student teacher thing and follow. And I was in these high schools, and I'm sitting in these high school classrooms, and I don't know
these kids.
I was like, nope. Now, just go ahead and give me my BFA. I'm good. I don't need the certificate. I can totally see myself teaching Shakespearean English or African American literature or something like that when I'm like 65.
Yeah.
But I sat in there and I don't know what happened, and I don't know if the creator showed up in that moment and got me up and been like, you need to skedaddle. But I was just like, I was this student, and I loved being this student.
Yeah.
But teacher, to these, oh no, I
High
gotta
school's
get it
totally different nowadays.
Totally different.
Yep.
I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus on being that. I just felt like we are on the same boat. Like, we're on the same level right now. There's so many things I want to do in my life, and you want to do the same thing. So I can't be giving you education. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was over real quick.
Okay, no, it's good. That's what I wanted to find out. I spoke at LBJ High School one time, and I walked in, because I had to obviously walk into the school to get to where I'm going.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't the type of school I know. Like, it's just really weird in the hallways nowadays. It is what it is, but yeah. Anyways, okay, so
You feel me, though.
so the English degree just basically got put to the side.
Yeah.
But you still had dance, and you grew up dancing as well. So because I know obviously you're big into fitness, fashion, and dance. So how did those three actually start merging together when I'm assuming your early 20s, right? Okay.
Great question. So I had my English degree and I had my dance degree, and I was taking, I was indie classes around Austin, whoever was offering cheap, modern tap, ballet.
Hold on, teaching the classes or?
Teaching.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I was just trying to get in there.
Yeah.
I had actually went to Austin Community College for some continuing education.
Okay.
Did real well there and ended up doing the costumes again for the production. I had the inventory, I had the talent, so I was there, and it found me again. But I was also hoping to use that English degree. I really didn't want to let my parents down. Like, man, you spent all this money on my education. I changed my major 4 times. And then, she had the conversation with me like, hey, you're going to have to choose or you're going to start paying for your own school. Yeah. So I went in. My mother and her twin sister own a child care center. Okay. So I went to the center and I was hoping to write lesson plans for the teachers. Okay. Teachers do the after school tutoring and things like that. Yeah. But once again, I get surrounded with people younger than me, and I'm just like, yo, what's going on? And am I just not that person to be teaching, people younger than me or what?
Do you have kids or no, by the way?
I don't have children. And I've always loved to be around them, but I always knew I was going to give them back to their rightful owner at some point.
An hour's cool, but after it's like, bye.
So I moved to the kitchen. And I started just helping out in the kitchen, prepping their meals. But they were having all this food that my doctors, who told me to lose weight, were telling me not to eat. And I'm like,
chicken, fried tender,
everything came in a can, and there was no one monitoring it. No one. It's a lot better now. A lot better, but it's still not where I would hope it to be. So luckily, they had the funding to provide, fresh food changes. But I knew that 80% of the child care centers and house daycares on the east side did not have these $3,000 conventional ovens, and they were having to cook whatever could be done with boiling water in a microwave. Oh wow! So I understood, but it was unacceptable to me. I was like, I can't watch these kids eat. This is my future. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. I can't watch my future. I can't be in this much control of the people who may be my future and just let it be. So I started what I named Fit Food for Kids. Fit Food for Kids? Fit Food for Kids.
Oh, what year was this, by the way?
This is like 5 years ago, so like 2014.
Did you think what Michelle Obama was implementing with the schools, did that kind of have something to do with it? Or?
Yes, it is. You are really good at your stuff.
Why you think I got my own show, girl?
Right. But that's exactly.
But was she influential in you making the local changes?
100%.
Okay, perfect.
I had never heard anybody speak like that to me and who looked so much like me.
Yes.
So everything was just kind of happening at once, and I implemented this program. It's still developing. It's totally funded by myself. Yeah. So I'm hoping to in the near future get more people just like you to hear about it. It's called Fit Food for Kids. It's an adult-friendly kids food service that replaces unfit foods with healthier kid-friendly options. And it's just a matter of playing substitute, like I said, substitute. There's always a healthier choice.
True.
So I started implementing those things into my mother's child care center, and eventually I became the food administrator for that center.
That's cool.
That's where the fitness food kind of comes in. And then again, I was taking classes around Austin to anyone who would, in the indie classes, and I realized how much I missed it. Yeah. So I started the Movement Project, and what that is just basically me going into the community and trying to disassemble the creative boundaries within these studios, because that's what it is now. A lot of kids just competing against each other. Yeah. But what I saw was in one weekend, it's free, totally free. There are no rehearsals, and we just, as a creative movement, we create art through dance, and we have a videographer come out, and we put, I'll sit with the videographer during post-production, and we have this, 30-second piece that we put together in a weekend with kids who never get to see each other outside of the studios, and we produce art.
That's cool.
Yeah, fashion, fitness, fine arts. That's what I do.
My boy, you might have run into Blitz, maybe. Gabe Mendez. You got to know Gabe.
Yes, I know exactly who
He's
you're
like
talking about.
super OG, breaker, B-boy. Yeah, we used to
Yes.
dance together back in the day, but he's still currently teaching lessons. I think he had a studio for a while. Maybe he got a new one out. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's always kind of not off and on, but just locations move. That's it. But yeah, kind of the same thing. He personally focuses more on kids.
Yep.
Not necessarily fashion and fitness, but I think he kind of incorporates
Yep.
fitness a little bit into the dance. But yeah, he's definitely someone that if you have not been recently working with, to definitely work with.
I've
'cause
taken
he's-
one of his classes actually. He used to be over at Balance Dance Studios. He was doing
Yeah,
out south.
Kathy owns
Yep,
it, right?
yep,
Kathy Dupie,
You
something.
know everybody.
Well, I did stuff with Kathy before. Yeah,
Really?
I'm telling you,
Very
come on.
cool,
I know
cool.
my
We need to
stuff.
talk later.
I think she has another studio now that she recently purchased within the past year or two.
Word?
Because the
I
main
haven't
one
heard
is on
about it.
Westgate, and I think she purchased
Yep.
another one. Yeah,
Yes.
but she's really nice. But definitely, obviously, with her. So now you've got the fitness going, or the fitness journey, we'll call it, started right there. Okay. So now, how did it go 10x?
So even though I had lost, significant amount of weight, that didn't mean I was healthy.
Okay.
I wasn't healthy. I wasn't doing any cardiovascular
Yeah.
things. I was inconsistent. And so I decided to join a gym. And it started with joining a gym, and I was actually had a good friend who was really into bodybuilding and things like that. I started knowing more about my body, and it just organically. People started seeing me and, what are you doing, Nina? You look so different. You look happy. So people started to notice what I was doing. And honestly, it was those kids that motivated me to do something better for them.
On the kids in the center that your mom has, or
Both the movement
okay,
project
and the dancing.
kids. They have such a big influence on my life, and we have such this huge age gap. But I learned so much from them. I'm still doing what I'm doing today because of those kids.
Really?
Definitely, absolutely, 100%. If I wasn't preparing meals for 40 to 60 kids a day, I really don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like doing what I'm doing. But I know that Monday through Friday, I'm preparing food, and they call me the cook. They don't. Sometimes they don't even know my name, But that's okay, because they know, that it's time to eat. It's time to, I see them running around and their energy, and because we're doing, organic and fresh, never frozen meals, then they're able to take those extra meals home because we have so much abundance of food left because we're doing, we're getting rid of the preservatives and we're doing everything freshly made, So that's my motivation every single day to get up, even if I don't want to, is I know that there are 40 to 60 kids that are depending on me. Yeah, definitely. And the same with dance.
Yeah, and on just throwing it in there, on the business side, that's actually a good look for the center itself, or for whatever school or whatever classes. Say, hey, we don't want your kids to be eating this crap.
Absolutely.
We believe in something different. I got a client right now who actually has a cookie company, and she only uses 100% organic ingredients in her. And it's like the fancy with the designs and such, and it's 100% organic ingredients. She says, I will not give any of my clients crap. So that's why I'm 100% organic.
Good for her.
I was like, that's cool, though.
That's where it starts.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to 10x everything. When do you think? Well, let's say in the past 2 or 3 years now, you launched your magazine. What year was this?
This year, May of 2019.
Okay.
Yep.
So you launched a magazine, and then you opened up the Nina Sarahphina Style Studio. Okay, which was this year as well.
Yep.
Okay, and then you've got something going on South by, or during South by, I'm sorry. Okay.
But before that, we also have December.
Oh, okay, December. So how does everything merge together or play together with what you've pulled off in the past year? If you want to break each one down individually, that's fine.
Yeah.
How one leads into another. But I want to know what the ultimate goal with all of this is.
So I like to. I would love to say they all merge together and work together, and eventually, organically, they do.
Okay.
But these are 3 parts of my life that almost depend on each other.
Okay.
Like I said, Monday through Friday, getting up and knowing that I have the personal responsibility to feed children. It's not feeding adults.
Yeah.
It's not. It's something about it being them that they're like, this is our future. This is my piece, piece to the world, And then personally, dance will always be a part of me.
Yeah.
Dance is the reason. It's through dance that the first person saw me and believed in me.
I see.
You know, I was always, you know, a smart student, but I feel like when we're young, we're all kind of smart in our own way. You know, we already have, we're flourishing. We have these intelligences. So it's not a lot of people telling us no to education when we're young.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's supposed to be, or that's what you're supposed to do. And then somewhere along, you know, middle school, high school, I don't think teachers stop caring. I think the education system as a whole just has certain expectations.
Okay.
And a lot of things get missed. You
Like
know?
they're just trying to get you in and out.
Try to get it up, you know. As
Yeah.
a cycle,
Next,
you know?
next generation, get them in, get them out.
Absolutely, 100%. And so I feel like with working with the kids and working with the food, it keeps Nina Sarahphina on flight. You know,
I see what you're saying.
It keeps me going so that I can produce and I can be the best creative that I can be. Because even though I'm giving these things, giving myself to dance, giving myself to fitness, as a creative director, I'm really able to have other people join forces with me to produce something bigger.
And you learn from the kids also.
Absolutely.
You learn the trends. You're like, oh, really? Oh, this? Oh, that?
And I'm so disconnected.
Yeah, no. Well, here's the thing, though, because when I have a 9-year-old, and when he says some of the stuff that I'm not saying it's negative, but when he brings home some of the stuff that he learned in school, I'm like, let me look into that. And I look at it, and I'm like, oh, this is what's popping right now.
Right.
You know, like I tell people right now about TikTok. And they're like,
just got that
TikTok, that's stupid. I'm like, oh, there's, I think, almost 1 billion people on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's worldwide. And Facebook, by the way, they started something called Lasso. Have you heard of that? They've slowly been rolling it out. Lasso is basically a competitor to TikTok.
Okay.
But don't be surprised when everyone's on TikTok, just like when everybody got on Instagram, and everybody got on Snapchat. But you learn that from somebody young, though.
Absolutely.
New dances also. That's another thing. When the floss came out, when the Fortnite, what it's called, the Orange Justice.
Look at you.
No, I'm saying, but it's when those stuff comes out, you're not going to learn it from anybody your age.
That's right.
It's typically somebody younger brings something up, and oh, let me look into that. And you look into, oh, shoot, that's popping, or it's about to get popping. But if you can hop on that trend and do a dance around it or do something or whatever it is, and that's when you can obviously take off and do your thing.
You barely see shows anymore or live performances where there's no dance. Talking about the halftime show this year was like, how do you have a halftime show without live dancers? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a huge part of the community now.
Yeah.
And people see the dancing, but there's so much behind the dancing, like really being able to persevere, you know, and taking care of yourself. I mean, we are they say the fattest nation in the world, you know, but all of the dancing and all of the entertainment, we're #1 in. So it's like, where is the divide?
Where the calories aren't getting burned or something, what happened?
Exactly, what's really happening? And that's why I'm glad I have fashion, fitness, fine arts, because I need all three to keep me afloat. You know, from different spectrums of the world and from different perspectives, from different people, from young people. And it's that one thing that it also keeps me young. When I bust a move, that's the way they know I'm cool. You know, it's like, okay, I can talk to her. I can tell her, you know, not necessarily talk to me about things.
She knows what's popping right now.
That body language is real.
I see. So talking a little bit more about the fashion that you mentioned, I want to know what exactly is a style studio.
Okay.
What can people expect if they go to the next one? I think you've recently had one back in September.
Yep.
It was the butterfly.
The butterfly collection.
Butterfly collection. But I saw something. I can't remember if it was on your website. Of course, we'll put all the info on the screen and such. I think it was on the website or it was a YouTube video. Was it in Paris at the Eiffel Tower? And I was watching that video and I was like, this was done right. This is pretty dope.
That means a lot to me.
No, I liked it. And I started digging and looked at some more of your stuff and I was like, this is pretty cool. So the first question is, what got you to Paris and other parts of the world just to go? Were you vacationing, or you say, yo, I'm going just to shoot, or what exactly made those happen?
Kevin Hart has.
Or you have some buddy passes, and you're like, I just gotta get out of Texas.
I wish. I need those buddy passes. Y'all got the buddy passes? I need those.
Get me out of Texas, please.
Right. That was it. Kevin Hart was like, on his stand-up, was talking about how he was a lab. And it was a local.
A lab?
A lab.
Okay.
And it was a local, and then 2 words that we can't say on this show.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? It is one thing to be local. It is great. But can you do this anywhere else where they don't speak your language and where, you know, they don't know your slang and where the way you look is gonna, no one knows you're American just by looking at you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I toured with the Beautiful You Fashion Tour.
Okay.
It's basically a tour. They tour nationally and internationally, showcasing designers' fashions.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people get this confused, but I'm not a designer. I'm a collector.
Okay.
And so I own all of the wardrobe in my collections, but what I do is I hire stylists or sometimes interns to create collections from the things that I have. So,
I see. Okay.
Exactly. So I made.
So your closet must look crazy.
Oh man, the studio.
Or
is
closets.
Amazing. Closets.
Closets.
And
or warehouse space.
And that's kind of what the style studio is. It is my warehouse space. It is. Everything started with just. I was looking at W Magazine,
okay.
and I saw a spread, and I was like, "Who did this? This
Yeah.
is what. This is me. This is what I want to do."
Yeah.
And I said, if this is what you want to do, you're gonna have to test yourself and go and displace yourself from what you're used to, and see if you can do the same thing somewhere else.
Okay.
So I went to Paris, and I went to Paris first, then London, then Tokyo. By the time I got to Tokyo, I realized that I need to be traveling with somebody. I do not advise you to travel around the world by yourself. But me, being from Austin, you know, I'm a minority in Austin.
They're gonna love me.
Yeah, you know.
I'm so bubbly. They're gonna love me.
Got lost the first time I went on the subway.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter, you know. I felt like that damsel in distress. You know, I had just me and my suitcase, and I was sitting, and you see Paris and Moulin Rouge and all that stuff. I was on the other side of the city where there was no one there, and it was just me. And it was that time that I had for myself. It was very humbling when I was just like, you know what, you are here. You are doing what you love. You don't know where you are right now in the world, but you know where you are here.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll figure it out. And I did. I spoke whatever Spanish I knew, which was the closest to French. You know what I'm saying? They had like the same roots and stuff. So eventually I found an Uber.
Spain ain't too far out.
Yeah, it's not too far. And that got me where I was going. But I say that to say, like, I believed in. I took all the belief that everybody else had in me, put a little bit of that in myself, and I was gone.
That's cool.
Out of here. And these hats actually that I'm wearing right now are only available in Tokyo, London, and Paris. It was this one collection that I created. Even though I'm not a designer, I did design this hat. It was my first design, and I went on tour showcasing this design, and it was crazy. Like, I got so much love. That all of that confidence that I had built up, all the things that you were asking me about up until now, I took that, I displaced myself from what I was used to, did it somewhere else, and you couldn't tell me nothing else when I came back. I came back to America like it's on, you know, I'm ready for it, and touring with those models and touring with these other designers, that's really where I found my inspiration to do that right here.
Yeah.
So then that's how we created House of Sarahphina, or just introduced House of Sarahphina.
Yeah.
Which
and that's a style studio, correct?
That's a style studio, but the House of Sarahphina is a collection of beautiful people, and I say beautiful people because it's female, male, whatever you want to call yourself. There's
or
a place
identify
for you,
as,
or
whatever
identify
it is.
as. It's a place for you here. These beautiful people who are a representation of what goes on in my head. So it's one thing to create with my own hands these unmovable objects, but then to get people to translate my dream and translate my thoughts. It's just, y'all gotta come, y'all gotta see it. I can't wait for you to see it. It's just a really immersive experience, and it's everything that I ever wanted in my own home. You know, so I'm really proud of that.
So the one you had back in September, if I were to have walked in the door, what would I see?
I'm so excited. I still get chills thinking about it. I had a beautiful stage built in my backyard because, of course, you can't have an immersive experience like this without having a live preview of the fashion. So I had my entire fall collection presented on stage. We had 16 models in a 3-bedroom home.
Wow.
Which there was lots of space. It was chaotic, but it was a beautiful chaos. It was my chaos, you know.
It was popping.
Exactly, it was.
It was
really
popping chaos.
Popping pop up, you know. So you enter, and we have. I've always had this obsession with Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, and in that novel is the story of Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And so I have this wall of mirrors, and you mentioned earlier about having to look at yourself and this being this person that you see. And really being in a space where you have to be real and really look at yourself and decide, you know, who you are.
Yep.
And
self-awareness.
Self-awareness. And the mirror, I feel like, is the best representation of self-awareness because no matter what you do, you'll always be that person that you're looking at. You know, it's only up to you to decide who that is you're looking at. So we have the wall of mirrors, and then we go to the next room, and I've always had this animal print. It's one of those things that, you know, I know you. Can you remember seeing animal print on a woman or man when you were, I don't know, middle school, high school? Do you remember seeing that in fashion?
You know what's funny you say that? Well, she passed away now, but I know a lady that, looking at her, she was like imagine Wendy Williams and Whitney Houston put together.
Yes.
But she was kind of like a pimp.
Okay.
So her style was literally like a 1985 Imagine gold chain with the Mercedes emblem on it, the big old long fake nails, tight black leather pants or pleather, whatever it is, with the end of the leopard print top or something.
Oh my God! You know,
and the big poofy hair. Yeah, she passed away though.
Okay.
She had party houses and such. It's a whole nother story. But anyways, but what you just said reminded me of her. But she was living like 1985 in 2015, 16, whatever it was. So it's really cool to see. But that was who she really was, though.
And I feel like everybody knows that one of those people.
Yeah, of course.
So when you go into this room, it's a dedication to her who's passed, and to who we are living now. Because to this day, you can't go into, you know, a Chanel or a Rodeo Drive and not see animal print somewhere.
Yeah,
so it's just that. We call it upcycle, not recycle, but upcycled fashion. And so everything is animal print, and it's also a gallery. So you see some of my work from the past and present, and some that has not been published yet on the wall. So you still have the gallery experience. And I took everyone on a tour and kind of gave them the same story. Then you have another room, and it is nothing but colorful. You got colorful streamers coming out the walls, and hands coming out the walls, and all this colorful wardrobe. And I'm gonna ask you again if you can remember that one outfit or one shirt or one article of clothing that was way too loud, but it didn't matter, you were still gonna wear it. You were still gonna wear it no matter what. I think everybody has that one outfit or that one shirt that everybody keeps telling them to get rid of, and it just keeps staying in your closet.
Oh, you mean my platinum FUBU jersey?
You went there. Yo, I didn't wear nothing but FUBU all through middle school. You can ask them now. They puff with the FUBU jerseys. Yeah. I was all about the FUBU. So that's the one.
The FUBU platinum, I think it was.
With the button down.
With the Fat Albert.
Fat Albert. You be taking me back. So there's that room. And again, I feel like everyone can connect to these rooms in some way, you know, even though it's fashion, it's still art, and there's a piece of everybody in it. And then the last room, I have it's black and white room, but it has a little touch of red. You remember that joke? It's what's black and white and red all over? I never knew the answer to it, but it was always something that everybody.
Oh, wait, the newspaper or?
Yeah, the newspaper or whatever. But
right.
It's almost one of those untold stories.
Yeah.
And I had another fascination with the mime. I studied theater before I decided to study dance, and so it was something about the mime. It was always these, or the harlequin, and it was always polka dots and stripes and checkerboards. And that sometimes when people, when I'm trying to think in black and white, it's never really just black and white. There's always black and whites and some crazy shapes, you know.
I see what you're saying.
And then I have, photos that are black, white, and just a touch of red to go with the room. So I put these rooms together just to have not only a peek inside what goes on in my head, but also visual representation of the work that I've done. So people can know, like, these weren't just ideas. You did this. You went, you traveled the world, you got these photos taken of you, you were your own creative director. I found my makeup artist, my hairstylist. Imagine how hard it is to find these people that only speak French. And you're trying to tell them, like, I want to make this come true. It's not that easy. But when you're a creative director, and that's what really had me
find a way.
Absolutely, you always find a way. So that's what you can experience when you come into the Style Studio. And you may or may not be lucky enough to find one of the models from the House of Sarahphina standing there, just posing, maybe talking to you, maybe not. You know, you have to come to find out.
So fast forward, we have a few minutes now. So you have an event coming in December, and then of course the South by one. So what I want to close out with is those two in particular. So what can we expect for the December event?
I'm really excited about this event because this is going to be my 4th annual photography competition, and anybody can enter. You can create your own teams, or you can use one of our specialty teams from the House of Sarahphina. And what you do is you can be someone who has experience or does not, photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist, creative director, or model. Or maybe, you know, you're feeling yourself and want to be all 5. That's how I've had to be that person sometimes.
It happens.
And so you're familiar with Chopped? It's like a cooking show where they have.
I don't watch TV, but it sounds familiar though. Well, I might have seen something on Instagram or somewhere.
And it's basically your team of 5 people or however many choose from some random props, and you are giving a theme, and you have 12 hours to photograph your model using that prop and sticking with that theme, and you have 12 hours to submit that photo, and then I have a lovely panel of judges to choose the winner, and they will be basically judging off portfolio, enthusiasm, and performance. So and one of the reasons why I put this competition together was for people to actually see what goes on behind the scenes when you're a creative director. You have to be able to, you know, put all your eggs in one basket. They tell you not to do that, but this time you actually do have to do that. So we'll be throwing this competition, and this is December the 13th. Mark your calendars. So I'm looking forward to that. This is, again, it's my 4th annual. The first year that I did it, I was the model. I had to choose the hairstylist, makeup artist, and photographer. The second year, I had it where the models enter, and they have to choose their own teams. And then last year, I actually took the competition on the runway, and we did it in front of a live audience rather than submitting the photos. So this year we're going to be doing a little bit of both. The runway will be the very last thing that everybody sees, and then we'll be doing a live submission. So we'll have anyone from anywhere around the world can put their vote in and decide on the winner. So I'm really, really excited about that. Really excited about learning more about this studio and really utilizing it. I mean, this seems like it would be the great place to do something like that. And so that's December 13th. Really looking forward to that. Then we have South by 2020. Really excited about South by 2020 because it'll be my first pop-up with a mobile boutique. So I'm launching Nina Sarahphina Style Studio Mobile Boutique. So you'll get that same experience that you get at the Style Studio. but we'll be moving and grooving. We're
Funny you said that because I always use that term.
moving and grooving?
I got a friend who says moving and schmoozing. I go, no, it's moving and grooving.
Is that what you told him?
Yeah.
You're killing his dreams.
But he says moving and schmoozing. I was like, what, bro? No, it's moving and grooving.
Right.
But anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that 2020, and this time I'm hoping to find people right off the street who are down here for South by, and hoping to get them to be our models. We'll dress them up. We'll take photographs of them with my summer collection that'll just be launching right around that time. And hopefully, we might get one of these local celebrities or a visiting celebrity to catch them in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really looking forward to that. That'll also be when I launch Nina Sarahphina magazine 2020. So
cool.
we've already had our phase 1, 2, and 3 of the magazine. This will be the big launch. So we're looking at 120 page.
Wow.
120 pages and 4 editorial spreads from photographers from around the world. Not gonna give that information yet. Who is gonna be? Top secret. But yeah, it's so much to look forward to, and I'm definitely hoping that we can utilize mainly the local people. We really want the local people to come out and shine. And I mean, we're the live music capital of the world, is what they say. So let's show them if we're really the live music capital of the world.
True.
With Nina Sarahphina's mobile boutique.
Very good. Now, to close it out completely, unfortunately, we have to.
I can see and talk to you all day.
I'll be here for 7 hours, girl. Let me tell you. So, to close it out, as someone who's seen obstacles or perceived obstacles in her life, what advice would you give, or what game would you hand down to somebody else that's watching this, and oh wow, I've always wanted to do that, but, or I wish I could do that, but, or they have excuses, or they might feel like they're not good enough, or whatever it could be. What do you tell to that specific person watching this right now? Because your creative drive is off the chain.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. But it's just a matter of now, how can you transfer that energy and that drive that you have to somebody else in the same shoes that you were maybe 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, 2 things. I know it's cliche when people say never give up. I say, give up. Go ahead. See how that feels. See how it feels to give up first. Because it might feel better than grinding. Giving up might feel better than grinding. So give up and see how it feels. If you're uncomfortable with giving up, then start all over. Start from the beginning. Start all over from the beginning. And when you get to the end, stop.
I like how you said that. I actually like that.
Stop. And they're like, yeah, I can't do nothing with that, Nina. You will though. You will.
It'll click in a bit.
It'll click. But also, man, again, not my only goal, but a goal in life is to find people to make my dreams come true or help my dreams come true. Find me, man. I got something for you. I have a job for you.
Yeah.
There is something to do at the Style Studio, and there's room for everybody. And I really, really, really think it's important that collaborations are everything. Get out there. All you can hear is no. I've heard no so many times, maybe more times than I did hear yes.
Oh, well, the same thing with me.
You know, and then look at you.
Well, I put myself on.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that I tell people. I say, look, even me, I'm a marketing advisor, strategy advisor. I have clients, right? But realistically, there's still people that I talk to because I'm trying to get in the door certain places.
Yeah.
No, they don't return your emails, they don't return your calls, they don't return a text. They say, I've been there, done that, and I see it and I understand. That's why I always tell people, put yourself on, create your own hype.
Yep.
And other than that, once you start doing that, that's when people start coming to you because they see what you've created and they want to be a part of it.
Yep.
But either way, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
It's been a beautiful conversation too. Yeah. And I appreciate you and everything you're doing for the city and beyond.
And we appreciate you too.
Already.
This is big what you're doing. Big.
Thank you.
We're going to see more of you for sure.
Already. Thank you.
Yeah.